So last time we left off, we had seen that Reverend Hall and Miss Mills met up probably at 9 at night, 8, 9 at night, and then they stayed out 2:30 in the morning, and so their spouses came looking for them. At this point, I think Miss Hall had found the letters of her husband to and from Miss Mills and receiving from Miss Mills. It's like, hey, yo, what's going on here? The spouses have been like covering for their spouses, covering for Reverend Hall and Miss Mills. Their spouses have been covering for them. It's like, nah, man, y'all ain't seeing what y'all around town. It's like, nah, man, y'all not seeing what y'all think y'all seeing. Our spouses would never do anything like that. But they outside the city, doing their thing, living high off life. And so, what happens is a little bit of an altercation is reported, and the young lady who reported it is now being sort of villainized in the press, just because of, I guess she raises pigs. And so they're, villainizing her because, they don't believe her. And in court, they said she was sick in court, but they said she was eccentric, meaning like, yo, you're crazy. You do unusual stuff. You're not normal, something off about you, which is what they did to sort of discredit her, I think. So, but,
and they end up just letting them go because there was no evidence pointing to them at all besides the witness report. So the case gets dropped and they all get let go. For years, no one heard anything. Then in 1926, a man named Arthur, this Arthur guy, he was actually trying to separate from his wife at the time. The reason that he wanted to separate was because she kept secrets. Now, what kind of secrets was she keeping? Well, let me get this lash on and I'll tell you. So Arthur's wife was hiding a secret. Well, she had a lot of secrets apparently, but one of the biggest secrets, because he came forward and told authorities about this, was that she was hiding information about the Hall Mills murder. Now, what could this random ass wife know about these murders, Well, this random ass lady was the former maid of Francis Hall. Remember Francis's alibi? Arthur said that his wife had known that Edward and Eleanor had planned to elope. She knew Willie Stevens had a .36 caliber pistol, and they also paid this ex-maid $5,000 to keep her mouth shut. Media gets a hold of this, and
like I told you, I can account for an alibi for Mr. Mills. I can account for him. The neighbors, they got him. But that maid, you gonna be quiet. I'm gonna pay you a little money, of course, for your time, for your trouble, but you're gonna be quiet. And that was the thing that we were talking about in the other videos, paying off. She got high-powered attorneys. We're gonna discredit the witnesses, so that's good. But the person that needs to cover you for your alibi to say that you weren't there is gonna be blah blah blah. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be your maid, and the maid's gonna be like, maid, what the maid gonna say? She gonna go get, because Mr. Mills already has his job. He don't got to answer to nobody like that. He's a janitor. So his employee ain't threatening him, but the maid's employer, which is Miss Hall, threatens her and says, you ain't seen nothing. We was out late. You ain't seen nothing. $5,000.
And of course, it just turns into a big story. So then the ex-maid, ex-wife now, she comes forward and she's like, no, my husband's lying. He's making all this up. He just wants attention. All of it's fake. But at that point, it was way too late. Arthur, her ex-husband, his statement had been pushed out by the press. So I'm sure the ex-maid, if it was true, she's probably like, oh, do I still get to keep my $5,000? Because the media picked up this statement and it just got crazy, police did actually reopen the case and go and investigate Francis Hall. I'm not exactly sure how it worked back then. I'm assuming they didn't need hardcore evidence in order to take you into custody. I guess I should.
She probably paid her almost $100K. So she paid her $5,000 in 1926. She paid her $100K, something like that, 87.
I looked into that a little bit more, my bad. But on July 28th, 1926, Francis Hall, she was actually taken into custody. After several hearings involving more than 50 witnesses, a lot of the people were just coming forward and saying that they heard something because they wanted to be a part of the story. What is with that? What is with people doing that? People do that all the time. Anyways,
they do.
And the jury actually indicted her brothers Willie Stevens and Henry Stevens, as well as their cousin Henry. So there's two Henrys. So they're like, it's got to be one of the Henrys. We don't know which one it is, so we're just going to take both of you guys in. Okay, cool. The trial turned into a complete spectacle. Main Street was littered with, again, a bunch of vendors, and they were selling refreshments. They were selling popcorn, trying to just sell whatever they can to make some money. Do you remember when they found the body, they found Edward's business card, which was left by his feet, and they brought that in for evidence. Prosecutors stated that the card had Willie Stevens' fingerprints all over it. This same card had been handled by curious visitors to the crime scene, as well as police. I'm not kidding you. When they found the bodies, they were laying under.
That's why I say it had to be Willie that was there. That's what I believe. It had to be Willie. Couldn't have been Henry. There would be no reason for Henry to come. Henry wouldn't know. We can't phone you. We don't got the cell phone like that. But I got Willie here with me. So me and Willie gonna go ahead and run, because you wouldn't leave and come back. Not with I guess her name is Eleanor. Not with her issues. You know, she's not leaving and coming back. We're gonna handle this now.
The crabapple tree, right? They take the bodies away, of course, but they leave the evidence there. So the business card that was found by Edward's foot was left there, and then it was handed around. When people came to look at the crime scene, they passed it around. So everybody was touching it, which is not a good piece of evidence to have, but they brought it in anyways. Now
I'm sorry, not Eleanor. It was Frances Stevens Hall. She's going to handle it right now. We running it right now. Eleanor was the choir singer, the wife of James Mills. But Frances is like, yo, we handling it right now. So that's why I believe Willie was there.
Remember the pig lady? Remember? She actually heard something, and they dubbed her the pig lady, which sucks, but I can't remember her name right now. But they actually called her to come testify. Miss Gibson, that's her name, Jane Gibson. She actually was pretty ill. She was brought in from the hospital on a stretcher. And also a doctor and 2 nurses came with her. She was carried into the courtroom on a stretcher and placed on an iron hospital bed facing the jury box. It's like theater. During her testimony, her account of the awful double murder, her own aged mother sat in the front row of the gallery and would chime in yelling, quote, "She's a liar, she's a liar, she's a liar." Again, the media had set her up, Jane Gibson, the pig woman, as a liar and an evil person who's making this all up. Why? I don't know why they were so against her. They just didn't want to believe it. Anyway, so her own mom, she's being brought in by a stretcher, and her own mom is there she's a liar. What the drama of it all. Defense attacked Miss Gibson. They attacked her credibility, pointing out that she had gotten a divorce in 1898 for adultery. They questioned her morals and brought up the names of a few ex-lovers, trying to discredit her and make her out to be untrustworthy, which it was kind of working. So then Frances, the Johnson & Johnson girl,
during that time, it would work. And see, that's what I'm saying. When you unalive people, it's crazy because you work. See, this is how people's minds work. You play toward the time period that you're in. And so Frances Stevens Hall would, I believe, pay off the mom, right? Pay off the mom and say, yo, your daughter's already passing away. You know, I'll give you some money to take care of her funeral. I pay off the maid. We're probably in bed with the cops, because what you need, new uniforms, you need new cars. We got the money. It is what it is. Keep your mouth closed. You see what I'm saying? So I can pay these people off, and I got my high powered team, and I probably know the judge.
Be part of Johnson & Johnson family. That's fun. That's money. She took the stand and swore that her husband was absolutely devoted to her. After over 80 witnesses and 5 hours of deliberation, they found all 4 not guilty of the murders of Edward Hall and Eleanor Mills. The case, to this day, still remains unsolved. Now, after the trial had ended, the Stevens, the Johnson & Johnson family, they ended up suing both the Daily Mirror and the Evening Journal for slander and libel. Both cases were settled outside of court. Many scholars believe that this case was actually the basis for F. Scott Fitzgerald's The Great Gatsby, the book. The book was written 3 years after the murder, and it takes place in 1922. So it's rumored that the book is based off of this unsolved murder mystery. I could believe it. So that's the story about the Hall Mills murder mystery. So the case never was solved technically, but I think it was Frances and her brothers. Hello, first of all, she's rich. Money can get rid of anything. I mean, ain't that the truth? Come on. If her husband was having an affair and they separated, I wonder if at that time he would be receiving money from her estate, because I'm sure the family didn't want that. And I'm sure the family didn't even want the scandal in general. So they probably were able to get the family off the hook. That pisses me off. If you have money in this country, you could get away with murder. I mean, we've seen it over and over and over again. Do you think it was one of the spouses? What if we're looking at the wrong person completely and it was the husband to Eleanor? But what would that benefit him? I'm not sure. The fact that the bodies were like posed seems kind of like intimate and something that a random stranger wouldn't be comfortable doing, right? Or is that just me? And the fact that Eleanor's throat was ripped out, I mean, to the point where you could see her effing, sorry, I shouldn't even cuss, her neck bone. What the fuck? Like, where did her throat go? They never found it. Who the fuck that? The guy, he was just shot. So that makes me think that it was probably Francis because Eleanor seemed to get attacked more. Eleanor was shot 3 times versus the 1 time, and her throat was ripped out. So it kind of seems like somebody was upset with her more than Edward. Poor Eleanor. I would love to hear your thoughts down below. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. I'm really struggling to talk today. A big thank you to Audible for partnering with me on today's video. I hope you have a wonderful day today. You made good choices, and I'll be seeing you guys later. Bye.
So I think we agree. You know, I think it was Frances Stevens Hall. She took her brother Willie because it was like, yo, you're not gonna get away with this. And I think Bailey brought up a great point. The estate would have to pay out. You know, you probably have to try to push for alimony or whatever. If that was the thing at the time, she might have to pay out. So she's like, yo, first of all, you're probably gonna try to leave me, but what you're not gonna do is you're not gonna take my money. That's not gonna happen. This is why I also know that it's going to be Frances Stevens who did this, because she ripped the vocal box out. That is only done because Eleanor was a singer, and she took away, oh, you think you're better than me because, as the newspaper said, she's not ugly, she's just not desirable. And that's what I've, you know, so, and if I see it, then everybody sees it. So she took away, you think that you're just, there was a jealousy there of, and you think that you're just going to take my, or you think you can get anything you, because she had been watching her. You're vibrant. You're, you know, everybody loves you and this, that, and the third. And you think that you're better than everyone because you can sing, and you're nothing but poor. You're nothing but broke. You'll never be anything, but you want to come over here and break up my family. That's where that came from. And that's why she needed to, I don't know who used the blade, you know, but you got to be pretty mad and high on adrenaline, and you probably were shouting. And so it was a crime of passion, and it probably happened when tendencies got the highest, when attitudes got the highest, number one. Number two, since they were caught, it is probably the case that because they were caught, they probably caught them in the dead of night, walked up on them. And so as they were out there, you know, doing their thing, Reverend Hall and Miss Mills, as they were out there doing their thing, they saw Frances coming out there with her brother. And so they was like, yo, we've been caught. And so they probably turned around to see and just basically face them and say, you know, here, you know, looks like we're going to have the conversation a little bit sooner than we expected. And so Frances comes up, what's going on here? Will already had the piece on him. And so we coming out, what's going on here? And it was probably like, yo, don't pull the piece out. You know, Frances was probably like, yo, don't pull the piece out yet. Just hold it. You know, I'm going to try to talk some sense into him. Maybe we can stop it. And so they pull up on him and they start talking to him, but it went left. And, you know, if they would have groveled, I think Frances would have let it go. And they would have been like, I'm sorry, so sorry, this will never happen again. But, you know, Reverend Hall and Eleanor were probably like, you know, we were actually kind of thinking, you know, you caught us and we're sorry. We were actually kind of thinking that we might actually stay together. And the thing about it is, Frances, I'm thinking that Edward was going to say it, but maybe Frances blurted it out. And that infuriated. That takes me from here to here. Because first of all, I'm asking my husband, I'm talking to my husband, seeing what he's going to say. But then secondly, I'm not talking to you. I'm already mad with you. You know, in terms of Francis talking to Eleanor. I'm not talking to you. Stay over there, mind your business. I'm talking to my husband. But then, you know, Eleanor, excited, probably jumps out. Well, this is what we're going to do. Da, da, da. You know, we love each other. We're in love, so on and so forth. That's when the piece came out. Because it's like, give me the piece. Give me the piece. I'm already gone. And so is this what y'all want? So she's waving it. Is this what y'all want? And, you know, Edward's like, whoa, take it easy, take it easy, take it. No. And then like, because somewhere in your mind, you have to go cold and you have to cut it. And it's like, you have to cut feeling. And so she cut feeling and boom. Because Will is not going to pull the trigger. He's not going to pull it. Eleanor, no, I'm sorry, not Eleanor. Francis, she's going to pull it. Because it's not, the pulls don't even make sense. They're irrational. The first one was a let off. Oh, dang, I got my husband. I didn't mean to do that, but he made me mad. And, but now I'm turning to you. It is what it is. And now I'm turning to Eleanor. And it's like, yo, now you got me mad. It is what it is. Act normal, you know. But Eleanor was probably like, are you crazy? What are you doing? Da, da, da. I'm already mad at you. You butted in and I wasn't going to do this, but, you know, and then so she does her thing. And so she boom, boom, boom 3 times. And Eleanor was probably still alive when, you know, when whatchamacallit probably went down, and he was probably already dead on impact. But Eleanor was still alive. And so what probably did it was the throat. And then boom, you think you want to mess with, and then so Francis gets down over her and is like, this is for taking away everything that meant something to me. Boom, blah, 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 and leave. It is what it is, man. So that's the video. Comment, like, share, subscribe. What do you think? What is your theory? Let me know. This is crazy. But until next time, take it easy.